We are going to be chatting this morning about a bunch of different things, predominantly Game Awards. I'm really starting to think that the Game Awards are really not what I think most people that want to watch them think that they are. I mean, like, I think we recognize that they're like for like a consumer facing experience. I think if you want that, I think it's really like the golden joysticks, the BAFTA especially. Honestly, this list is pretty solid, but the problem to me is that this list is so like superficial and it's all only about what is like most popular. That's obvious that it would be like the most popular games, but like Nine Souls is really good. It wasn't on there. I mean, there's like countless. I mean, what really frustrates me is that there's just like countless games. I mean, I don't know if you saw me doing this the other day, but the 2024 video game releases, if you look at the list, I mean, like, it's mind-blowing how much stuff came out. I mean, this is in January alone. Like, look at how much came out this year, and this isn't even like a complete list. Can't wait for Jeff to race through the best score announcement again between trailers. Yeah, that's frustrating. And you know, people say, well, at least we're getting the montage of all the different winners with music. That's not enough. And the thing is like, we just have to accept the fact that like when it comes to art, when it comes to like creative vision, it's just not what the Game Awards is about. I've come to the conclusion that the Game Awards is not going to be the place. And I have this dream of presenting the best OST of the year at the Game Awards or one of these award ceremonies, and like from a purely selfish perspective. And it's just a mess. Let's talk about this. So
nominees are Astrobot.
So Astrobot has a really nice soundtrack. Let's listen to some now. If you haven't watched my video on it, I suggest that you do. But like, just in terms of its music, so lovely, so bright, so playful. So I'm not even upset that it's on there because it's terrific. Hold on. Let's listen to, well, I guess Astro is the number one track, but there's a few. Let's check it out. I mean, like, you know, yeah, there's a bunch of tracks that are obviously like remixes of like Drake's Botchin. Like, yeah, of course, like. Thanks, Muse. It's ever so slightly modified. It's actually charming. I mean, I don't mind it personally. But that's not all. I mean, like, there's also some. I didn't actually finish the game, but there's I just want to hear this, like. Yeah, okay, that's fine, but like Puppetry is fun. Shit's crazy. Yes, I mean Astrobot as a game itself, like I think it's really charming. I do think that it's sort of a disappointing like highlight of all the games that Sony has like sort of like left behind. On the surface, it's really easy to be like, oh, it's just a cash grab for Sony, but then when you actually sit down and play it, it's charming as hell. There's a lot to like about it, honestly. It's really good. And if you haven't played it, I really recommend it if you feel like it, because it's really entertaining. I think musically, I think it's fine. I got no problem with Astrobot being nominated. Look, as you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Final Fantasy VII remakes, the trilogy. I'm not crazy about them. In fact, I don't really like it at all. And I put 20 hours in. One of my patrons, we were talking about this in patron chat, and he was like, I think you might be a contrarian. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I mean, I just think that like for me, Final Fantasy VII, I like the original so much, and I don't need all this expanded universe stuff. Like, it feels like fan fiction a bit. I think it's an artistically beautiful piece. I mean, I think it's really well made. It's clearly made with a lot of passion and love. Obviously, there are going to be things that you love about it or things that you don't love about it. And for me, I'm also not into Final Fantasy VII as much as some people are. So the other thing that you don't know is that I'm sitting here and I'm actively listening to like all of these albums. I've been listening to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth now for about a week when I'm driving in the car, because I'm really trying to dig into like, what about this, A, do I not like? And then B, what do I really like about this? And, you know, I will say that the combination of Hamauzu really leading, there's a lot of orchestration done by Hamauzu, which is really cool. So it takes the Uematsu originals, which I love because they're simple and melodic and like lovely, like, you know, that the real like motivic Nobuo Uematsu style writing that is so perfect in Final Fantasy VII, in my opinion. And it really does elevate those. The one thing that I see as an issue for me for Final Fantasy VII, it sometimes feels like a hodgepodge. It feels like super packed in. Now, you might say that that's a positive. And so you would be right. But subjectively, like when I listen to the soundtrack, it's like I get whiplash, because one second I've got smooth jazz with the Queen's Blood, and then on the flip side, you have like these gorgeous modernizations of classic Uematsu pieces, and I think it lacks a little bit of cohesion. But the other thing that's worth talking about is the fact that the way that I'm perceiving these scores is different, because I'm not playing necessarily every game. I'm listening to the scores with my own criteria for like whether or not I like it or not. You know what I mean? No. Does this... Oh, this happens... Okay. I mean, no one is going to deny that sounds bad or it's composed poorly, and that's not possible. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not possible. That's a wonderful reimagining of Aerith's theme. Like, it's loud, yeah, and I do think it's a good point that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, taken as just a soundtrack, has some incredible high highs, and that's usually what people are looking for in these votes. I would agree. Let me just pivot over to the second phase 1.5 here. I mean, it's wonderful. It's like moving through a bunch of different Yeah. That's a really sick transition. It's cool. Yeah, because it's, yeah, you made a great point there. It sounds like Genova's theme is eating Aerith's theme. It's so true. And that, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, that's so cool. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's 13 minutes. Let me listen to phase 2. Yeah, I mean, in terms of like size, I mean, this is the thing that makes this soundtrack so good, and that's why I wouldn't be upset if it won by any stretch of the imagination, because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has this like wonderful maturity in its sound, especially when you look at these orchestral themes that are essentially like lifted off of the originals and like morphed and arranged. I mean, like, arranging is so difficult. It's so cool to hear it in this adult way. We lift off of that like MIDI sound and we're presented with this like truly orchestral arrangement of like really something that's profound. It's like a symphony. It's like a tone poem. And like, you can listen to this without the context and still be like, holy shit, like, why does that theme suddenly morph into this theme? And this theme sounds so fucked up compared to that theme. I mean, yeah, you're right, Adam. It's not easy to mix and match traditions and stuff, you know what I mean? It's very exciting, and it's something that it's a perfectly valid soundtrack, and I'm very glad that it's nominated. As a game though, I'm sort of like lackluster on it. I think soundtrack wise it's cool. I wish it was a little bit more cohesive, and there was a little bit like I love Keiki Kobayashi, and the Valkyrie track that's in Rebirth is, I mean, it's just ace combat, which I'm never going to complain about that. Again, but there's a little bit of what I mean by the lack of cohesion, where it doesn't always sound the same. I don't want it homogenized. I want it to be just like a cohesive unit. Like the Metaphor soundtrack, every track sounds the way you expect it to. Now, obviously, they're interesting to listen to, but at least like they're all like this shoji sound. You know what I mean? Like that's my issue. That's my sort of perspective on Final Fantasy VII. I have zero problems with it. I would love for it to win. Do I think it's better than Stellar Blade? No, I don't. I want Stellar Blade to win OST of the year, and I'm pretty adamant about that for a bunch of reasons that I'll get into when we get to it. So Metaphor is fascinating to me. I'm 12 hours deep, and I've been listening to the soundtrack as well. So Metaphor is an interesting one for me because I've heard most of the soundtrack. I'm listening to it strictly from the perspective of I'm driving in my car, totally removed from the context. The one thing about Metaphor that really excited me is that every time I hop into a new dungeon or a new area, the thing that was most appealing to me was like, what's the music gonna sound like? Because there's a lot of distinctive music. Metaphor, in my opinion, has some of the best vocal music of the year. I think it was this one. It wasn't this one. Well, either way, this one's really good. That's why when people are like, oh, I don't know that I would like classical music, I'm like, well, what the fuck is this? This is classical music. There's nothing about this that you wouldn't hear in an opera. So anybody that's like, oh, I don't like classical music, you're full of shit. This is opera. I'm sorry. This is like primetime choral operatic. But hold on, I gotta find this piece that blew me away. Oh, here it is. I think it was Virga Island. Yeah. This is cool. Hello. You never hear shit like this. Oh, hey, Professor. Thanks, buddy. So interestingly enough, as I was thinking about this, have you ever seen that there's a video that was floating around on TikTok of this an Indian percussionist, and he was playing how they sound out rhythm. Taki tiki taka taki ta tiki taka tiki taki tiki ta taka ta. I'm thinking to myself like, holy shit, did Soji somehow like put in like rhythmic emphasis of an Indian culture, and it's wild. Metaphor should win OST of the year for its vocal themes more so than its other themes. I think the vocal themes in this are fucking crazy. They are so experimental. They're so unique. They're so special. I'm less into the like regular orchestrated pieces and very into the vocal pieces. I think for two reasons. One, I think that they kind of start to sound a little generic. Every time there's a choir though, they're always elevated. It's weird. And then two, it's so obviously produced on a computer. I think my taste is changing because I wouldn't have cared like a year ago. But now, like Final Fantasy XIV and Metaphor are so obviously done on a computer, it actually is starting to bother me. Especially when you consider like Rebirth's like full orchestration. I don't know, maybe because I listen to so much music that's like done either with a much better VST or much cleaner or perform with orchestra. Maybe that's elitist to say. Maybe my past life is coming back to bite me in the ass. But it's so blatantly obvious when it's like that, like especially in the brass. It's actually like annoying to me. But that doesn't take away from like the skill of it's not a compositional skill issue. I can't believe I said that. It's an issue when it comes to how it sounds. Because here's the thing. Is it Warriors in Arms? What's the battle theme? I think it's this one. Yeah. I mean, what the fuck? It's like stupid. Like that's when never. That's why Metaphor is pushing the boundary of what's possible. And that's really exciting. And it also makes sense because when you look at like Shin Megami Tensei 5, or I've never really been into the Persona sound, but this feels tailor-made for me personally as a classical music lover and classical music person. But this shit is crazy. And then the other thing that I really liked was it Ode to Heroes. Now this was really cool. This is what we would call diegetic, where it was the national anthem. I don't want to spoil anything in case you haven't. I also haven't played past the first town, so I don't want to spoil myself because I do want to play it eventually. But yeah, this one's fine. Also, Flight from the Mines is great too. That's so special. I mean, even Traversing the Waste, which is like one of the first songs you hear. Listen. So I think this is what makes, I think, judging soundtracks really hard, because are we looking at it from like a complete package, where every track is listenable. That's how I'm looking at it partially. Most obviously would be looking at it from the context of the entire package, right? So like from start to, how does the soundtrack complement the contextual experience of the game? Because after all, that's what it's written for, right? So I think there's multiple ways to, and hopefully, and I don't think this is happening at all, but hopefully we're looking at both, because both are really important. How it's actually composed, I don't think that a jury panel that isn't an expert, not to say that I'm an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but like, I don't think that there's a jury looking at it from that perspective. I think they're looking at it like how it fits the experience. Realistically, that's probably good enough. However, I do think it's interesting though, because there are multiple ways to take a look at how a soundtrack is composed and how it's written and stuff. I think Metaphor would be a phenomenal win, kind of an obvious win to me. So Silent Hill 2 is interesting because it's recontextualized, and Yamaoka is like incredible. There's no denying how pivotally important music is. Now, you would say that to all of these, right? But you cannot deny how mind-blowingly important the music is in Silent Hill 2. Now, again, you say that about every piece, every game in this category. However, I do think that Silent Hill 2 is also a really powerful contender, despite the fact that this is a reimagining. And so this is also an interesting conversation anyway. Should Silent Hill 2 be a Game of the Year category contender? Now, again, we're talking about the Game Awards, so like let's keep it let's keep it really low hanging fruit here, because like I think that there should be a remake category. There's enough remakes that come out every year that merit that. Now, do I think that Silent Hill 2 deserves to be on the Game of the Year list? Yes. Do I think that it should be? I can tell you one thing. Shadow the Erdtree is fucking bullshit. I'm sorry, I shouldn't swear so emphatically, but like, it's nonsense. Jeff just fucking threw that shit on there. Like, ongoing game. DLC. It actually makes me angry. I don't know why. Who gives a shit? In terms of Silent Hill 2, though, let's get back on track. Now, my personal opinions about this. Silent Hill 2's OST is phenomenal. And also, like, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink wasn't even mentioned. Well, whatever. I mean, like, that, I think that one was always going to be hard because of its, like, history, and it came out in, like, February? So, I mean, like, there's also that, too. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink was phenomenal. I don't know, but even Remake, like, you can't even say that Rebirth and Remake are even remakes anymore. They're their own games, which is why it's like, I think it's okay to not like it, because it's not really the original. It's different. But in terms of the Silent Hill 2 remake, I know that this is sort of polarizing because a lot of folks really, really, really love the original, which I think is fair. However, phenomenal changes in my opinion. I mean, let's listen to, is it this one? Yeah, let's listen to Laura's Emotions, Theme of Laura. I don't remember what the difference is. The thing about Silent Hill 2 is that when music is used, it is so punctuated and powerful. It's so crazy. I mean, like... What's up, dude? Oh, yeah, do. Silent Hill's use of music is so visceral. And also its sound design is really, I think it's actually nominated for sound design. But man, it's so good. I mean, like, I could sit here and listen to this whole thing with you, and we won't. But so I think Silent Hill 2, it's a toss-up for me because Silent Hill 2's music is really good. I mean, this is like, I think this is a solid year for these most popular titles. We're not even including like indie music or whatever. But for me, Stellar Blade, OST of the year. I love Stellar Blade's soundtrack. Like, I cannot put into words how much I love this soundtrack. It is phenomenal. Now, we're talking about variety and style. And so I think that what's really interesting is that somehow Stellar Blade manages to sound really cohesive, despite the fact that every single boss theme has a different musical style, whether it's EDM, rock, opera. So it's interesting because for me, it doesn't work as well with Rebirth, but yet I feel it works with Stellar Blade. So either I'm a giant hypocrite, which by all means, feel free to let me know in the comments below if I am one. Maybe don't. But all that to say, like, I just, to me, God, I mean, fuck. I love Stellar Blade soundtrack so much. Let's listen to, what's one of the cooler ones? Oh yeah, let's listen to the Taki boss fight. I haven't listened to this in a while. Ba-da-ba-bam. Shut-dun-dun. Yeah, I gotta hop on that Nier crossover today. I won't do it until... Oh, I fucking love it. It just picks up in tempo. Yeah, I'll be taking a look at the Stalker 2 soundtrack for sure. Just gotta get the phase 2. If I was voting and whatever, to me, it would be Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade for me would be if I look at this list, it would be Stellar Blade number 1, Metaphor number 2, Silent Hill number 3, and Rebirth number 4, and Astrobot number 5. Let's go all the way back. Best ongoing game.
For best ongoing game, the nominees are Destiny 2, Diablo 4,
Okay.
Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2.
Why wouldn't you put Warframe on this list? Warframe is going... See, this is the funny thing about Warframe, is that Warframe constantly bubbles below the surface, and it's just doing its thing. Destiny has bungled the entire fucking year. Somehow, we're going to... No, okay, so they pull it together for the final shape, but lay off literally their entire music staff. Point is that Warframe should be here.
2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14,
Destiny 2 has bungled the entire game, not just the year. I have complicated feelings about Dawn Trail. It was a huge step back for me. I actually haven't picked it. I haven't finished it. I haven't picked it up. Since about the quarter of the waypoint. I just couldn't do it. Diablo 4, I thought the Vessel of Hatred turned around here pretty good. I mean, I started playing it a little bit. I had a good time with it, what I played, but I never really lock in with ARPGs.
Your best performance nominees are...
Yeah, so to me,
Brianna White,
I mean, Brianna's a terrific actor.
Hannah Tell for Life is
I don't know Hannah.
Exposure, Umberly Gonzalez for Star Wars...
Yeah, you know what? She was good. The little bit I played of Outlaws, I thought that Umberly was really, really talented and a really likable character.
Luke Roberts.
Now, there's only one clear winner to me, and that's Luke Roberts. I really think that Luke Roberts above the rest. I mean, Luke Roberts is like, fuck. His performance was insane. I mean,
Melina Jurgens, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2.
I can't speak on Melina here.
Best mobile game, the nominees are
10 guesses.
AFK Journey.
Played 10 minutes of it. So here's my problem with Balatro. I mean, yes, it's a mobile game, but I feel like they just threw it in here because they were like, oh, we'll just throw Balatro in. It just came out on mobile, and I get it. But like, this one's a weird one for me. That's very weird.
Pokemon Trading.
This one just came out, and I bet you it sweeps. I bet you it sweeps. I think it'll actually, if politics serves, I think it'll probably end up going to Balatro. Now, to be fair, Balatro is made by one person. So, like, honestly, give all the awards to Balatro. I don't have a problem with it. But Balatro is one of those games, it did teach me poker. It taught me how to like read poker hands. I don't have any problem with that. Pokemon TCG is just on the tin.
Card game.
Not when you compare it.
Wuthering.
Not when you compare it to Wuthering Waves, which is my favorite gacha game at the moment. And they've had wonderful turnaround from 1.0 to 1.4. What we've seen in the last 6 months, there's no comparison. Phenomenal combat, terrific world to explore, great ecosystem, doesn't waste your time too much. So many user-friendly upgrades to make it easier to like grind out shit and like get your dailies and like get your characters up. Don't get me wrong. ZZZ is very good too, but it's very different from Wuthering Waves. So, I could see it going either way. I would like to see it go to Wuthering Waves just because I really, really respect Kuro Games. I mean, Kuro Games, even just being nominated, they gave 1,000 Astrite, which is nearly enough for a full 10 pull. They've also given out characters, which has lost them millions in revenue. Now, granted, they're making their money back in different ways, but like, I know that people have their opinions on gacha games, and I can't blame you for that at all. And in fact, I agree with you at this point. I've had a reckoning with myself about what gacha is and what gacha means, and my own FOMO, which I'm very susceptible to. So I recognize it now, having like been in that like little gacha circle for about 3 years now. I'm aware of how insidious gacha games are, but I firmly believe that Wuthering Waves is very good, and it's actually like a quality game character-wise as well, gacha aside. Now, that said, I do like ZZZ, but I fell off the sort of MiHoYo cycle.
The nominees for Best Art Direction are Astrobot.
I could see this. I mean, the art direction in Astrobot is lovely. I would really like for it to win this. I mean, it's like so charming.
Black Myth Wukong.
But that said, okay, wait. Best art direction, this to me is a Black Myth Wukong win, personally. Because when I think about everything I saw while I was playing Black Myth Wukong, it is a work of art. Black Myth Wukong is phenomenal. Buddhist temples, stunning landscapes, incredible characters. You never knew what you were going to be fighting next. Fantastic enemy design, fantastic character design, fantastic story. I mean, like, everything about Wukong's art direction is absolutely, like, to me, there is no higher tier. I mean, like, that, to me, Black Myth Wukong for this year was up here. It's phenomenal.
Elden Ring Shadow of the Earth.
Now, okay, this is a perfectly good category for art direction. That said, I still think Wukong takes it.
Metaphor.
That's hard. Metaphor art direction is pretty crazy. Every enemy you fight in Metaphor is essentially like a Dali painting. It's really hard to, ooh.
And
but Neva. Neva's beautiful too. That's tricky because Neva's sublime. I'd put Wukong, Metaphor, and Neva. Those would be the three.
Nominated. Astrobot.
I mean, yeah, that's fine.
Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
Okay.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Okay.
Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2.
I could see it.
And Silent Hill.
I'm sorry. It's this. Silent Hill 2's audio design is literally phenomenal.
Best Adaptation recognizes excellence in authentically creating shows, movies, and other creative endeavors based on video game worlds. Here are this year's nominees for Best Adaptation. Arcane.
I mean, to me personally, like, I haven't seen Arcane at all, but I think Fallout would really take... I mean, Fallout was a delight. Remember how Fallout, when the show came out, Fallout sales went like this? All the different iterations of Fallout. It was a movement. It really breached the gap between... my fiance doesn't play video games, and we loved Fallout. I mean, like, we were so into Fallout.
Fallout. Knuckles. Like a Dragon Yakuza. And... Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft.
How are we putting these on here when these haven't come out? I think Tomb Raider just came out on Netflix, but like, why would we put Yakuza on there when that hasn't even come out yet?
For Best Narrative in a Game, the TGA nominees are Final Fantasy VII.
Okay, so you know how I feel about Final Fantasy VII, but I do think that narrative-wise, what they're spinning, you either really like it or you don't. Oh, it has Yakuza's out? How is it? No, I've heard amazing things about Arcane. I gotta watch it. You heard it's meh? It's eh. I'm gonna get yelled at for this. It does feel like Final Fantasy VII's story feels very much like Kingdom Hearts. Like, I'm gonna have to start playing, like, I'm gonna have to read a comic book, play a game on the 3DS in order to get the full Final Fantasy VII remake plot line.
Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth.
See, I started playing this. I really quite liked this. What FF7 does subtly, FF7 Rebirth hits you up the head with a sledgehammer with it. That's a really interesting perspective. I thought I was very alone in that perspective. So you're saying it's too on the nose? But anyway, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. I started this, and what I started playing, I really enjoyed. Although I did find it funny that there was like a 10-minute dialogue about, in the first like hour, I would say, there was like a 10-minute dialogue about someone not being able to date anybody. Is that what it was? There was something about it that I was like, what?
Metaphor Refantasio.
I feel like this will win this.
Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2.
Oh, okay. Well, let me ask you a question though. So okay, this is a really complicated thought process because Silent Hill 2 has an amazing narrative, but should Silent Hill 2 win Best Narrative, considering that it came out? They didn't really change the narrative. You know what I mean?
Games for Impact celebrates thought-provoking games with a profound pro-social meaning or message. Here are this year's nominees. Closer the Distance.
I can't speak on this,
Indica.
obviously.
Neva. Life is Strange Double Exposure. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and Tales of Kenzera.
I mean, I didn't play this game, but this game is all about death. And for me personally, like, it's a reflection on his father's passing. So for me, I would vote for this.
The nominees for Best Community Support are Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, and No Man's Sky.
I can see that. Wasn't this a huge issue? Wasn't this a massive issue? That's funny. I know they fixed it, but I remember this being like, I guess the fact that they fixed it, so I suppose it's good. To me, No Man's Sky always makes the most sense. Yeah, could you imagine if Destiny had gotten an award here? Didn't they do that last year? They got an award last year.
In the category of Best Multiplayer, the nominees are Call of Duty Black...
I gotta say, Black Ops 6 is really good. If you like Call of Duty and you've avoided it because after Modern Warfare remake, because of all the bullshit, Black Ops 6 is like kind of a return to form. And the skins they put up for Season 1 are more or less normal.
Helldivers 2.
So it's interesting to me because, I mean, if you recall, when Helldivers came out, have you ever seen that video when average gamers become AAA voice actors? No one can deny how meaningful the multiplayer is in Helldivers 2. Like, I could see it winning this, and frankly, I think it should.
Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, and Warhammer 40,000.
I can't speak on this. I remember when it first came out, the multiplayer was not good. Has it gotten better?
Best Independent Game celebrates games with a high degree of risk tolerance, as they are produced outside of the traditional publisher system.
Remember when Dave the Diver was on this list? That made me laugh.
Nominees are Animal Well,
I could see this.
Balatro,
I mean, this is one person.
Lorelei and the Laser Eye,
This looks pretty cool.
Neva, and
I do think this is more artistically pleasant to look at, and I think like as an indie game, I think Neva it's so hard because Balatro is a phenomenal gaming experience for what it is. It's incredibly micro focused. Neva as an entire story sequence, I'm almost done with it. I feel like Neva really takes the cake here for me.
UFO 50.
Yeah, it's really done that. Nine Souls is an incredible game. But UFO 50, I mean, it's interesting because UFO 50 is an interesting game to me because it essentially takes old school gaming and modernizes it. So for me, that's pretty cool. Animal Well is one of those games that you kind of like have to lock into, I think, and really get into it.
Next is Best Debut Indie Game, which recognizes a development team that hasn't won a Game Award before. In fact, these teams published their first game in 2024. The nominees are Animal Well.
I really could see it. This is a really well done game.
Balatro.
But I mean, Balatro, but Manor Lords also was another one that really was on it. And this is again one person dev created that entire, I mean, Manor Lords is impressive.
Pacific Drive and The Plucky Squire.
I don't think there's a single bad nominee in that category. And same with the previous indie game stuff.
Our game. The nominees are Arizona Sunshine Remake, Asgard's Wrath 2, Batman Arkham Shadow, Metal Hellsinger VR, and Metro Awakening. For Content Creator of the Year, the nominees are Queso, Illawan, Techno Gamers, Typical Gamer.
That's certainly one way to look at it.
Usada Pecora.
I get mine got lost in the mail.
Part of the Game Awards is looking forward to what's next. And yes, we'll have lots of games to announce on December 12th. But what's the most anticipated upcoming game? Here are the nominees based on currently announced titles. Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Ghost of Yote, Grand Theft Auto 6, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Monster Hunter Wilds. The Best Action Adventure nominees are Astro.
Oh, this is my favorite category.
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2.
No part of this game. Why don't you put Space Marine 2? It's a perfect action adventure game. Yeah, it's true. There's no horror category. I mean, better to be nominated than not. I know. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink would have been a great one, too.
Star Wars Outlaws and The Legend of Zelda.
I didn't realize that this was an action adventure game. I rescind what I said.
Of Wisdom. For Best Role-Playing, the jury selected Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think this would have been better as an action adventure game.
Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree.
Yeah, it is a role-playing game, isn't it? When I think role-playing game, I think like JRPG. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, you do change your build. So I suppose that's a role-playing game.
Final Fantasy VII
Is this a role-playing game still? Because isn't it action RPG? Is it an action RPG now?
Birth. Like a Dragon Infinite.
See, the role-playing is a really funny category because you're right. It's very expansive nowadays. It's not like, you remember how it used to be just like JRPGs and WRPGs back when like Mass Effect and The Witcher 3 were out? Technically, Veilguard is like the definition of a WRPG, a Western RPG. And it used to be so distinctly spread between the turn-based combat of Japan and the action combat, or the you know, the role playing, the choices. At least that's how I used to define it, of like The Witcher and like Western RPGs. But now it's all changed.
And Metaphor Refit.
I mean, I would be shocked if it didn't go to Metaphor personally.
In the category of Best Fighting, the nominees are Dragon Ball Sparking
There's
Zero,
no way this doesn't get it, right? I mean, like, I'm pretty sure I haven't seen a bad thing said about Sparking Zero.
Grand Blue Fantasy
I mean, what a charming... I like this game, but...
vs. Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, Multiversus, and Tekken 8.
You think Tekken is more pop? Well, yeah, that makes sense, actually.
The nominees for Best Action are Black Myth Wukong,
This makes sense.
Call of Duty Black Ops 6,
Why don't we have a first-person shooter category?
Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade,
I mean, to me, it's really between Wukong and Stellar Blade.
Warhammer 40,000,
This makes sense. Oh, so wait, what's the difference between action and action-adventure? Aren't they the same category? Adventure has exploration?
Innovation in Accessibility celebrates games that are making our industry available and enjoyable to more people. Selected by a special committee of accessibility experts, the nominees for Innovation in Accessibility
Yeah, I think Tekken is
are
more long-lasting than
Call of Duty Black
than Dragon
Ops
Ball.
6, Diablo 4, Dragon Age the Veilguard, Prince of Persia the Lost Crown, and Star Wars Outlaws.
That category is only pointless if you don't have a need for it, you know? I think we should be clear on that. Accessibility is important. There are folks that like can't use their hands, or it's only not important if you don't need it, because it's not just color. I mean, it's every. I mean, it's like even. I mean, Xbox, PlayStation, they have controllers made for people that like have like motion. I mean, it's hugely important.
Astrobot, Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and
The Nintendo category. Yeah. Although
Best
the Plucky
Sim
Squire is cute.
strategy nominees are Age of Mythology Retold,
I could see this.
Frostpunk 2,
I could see this.
Kunitsugami, Path of the
I
Gods,
could see this too.
Manor Lord,
I could see this
and
too.
Unicorn
I
Over.
could see this too. This is that's a really nice category.
This year, these titles are nominated for Best Sports Racing, F1 24, EA Sports FC 25, NBA 2K 25, Top Spin 2K 25, and WWE 2K 24.
I am a sucker for the tennis games.
Best Esports Game. The nominees are Counter-Strike 2,
Oh man, I started playing Counter-Strike 2 hardcore at night. When I start with deathmatch, where I just like line up and just shoot what I need to shoot, and I get really good, and then I switch over to casual, and I'm ass still.
Dota 2, League of Legends, Mobile Legends Bang Bang,
What is this? I feel like I'm really in touch with the mobile game category, but Mobile Legends Bang Bang is not one that I have ever heard of. It's a League copy?
and Valorant. The nominees
You're
for
right.
Best Esports Athlete are 3-3, Alexi B, Chuvi, Faker, Zywoo, and Kong Kong. And for the Best Esports Team, our Special Esports Committee nominated these teams: Billy Gaming, League of Legends; Gen G, League of Legends; Navi, Counter-Strike; T1, League of Legends; and Team Liquid, Dota 2.
Honestly, I'm intimidated by every single one of those people. I just want you to know that, like, if I saw them, I would be nervous. Like, you're good at video games.
All right, it's time for our final two categories. For Best Game Direction, which
Just being silly.
recognizes outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design, the nominees are Astrobot,
I could see it. I mean, best game. Okay, so what do we think? What do we think best game direction means? Creative vision of a person or group of people lead the team. Yeah, okay.
Astrobot,
Wait, what? It's all the fucking same? Well, Balatro, I don't think. Well, I don't know, though. It flows so well. I mean, Balatro's made really well.
Balatro, Black Myth Wukong,
I do think that, like, I do think that Black Myth could win this.
Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor Refantasio. And finally, our global TGA jury, of which I am not a member, has selected the following 6 games as nominees for Game of the Year at the Game Awards 2024. The Game of the Year nominees are Astrobot from Team Asobi, Balatro from Local Thunk, Black Myth Blue Kong by Game Science, Elden Ring
Game! Oh, it hurts me.
Shadow of the Erd Tree by From Software, Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, but you need to own another game and access it and go into it very far in order to play it. I agree with you that it's 90% bigger than other games, but you physically cannot access it unless you play another one. It doesn't make sense. You can't say it's Game of the Year if it's literally a part of another game. There's so much DLC that comes out. You can make a second category, but this is like such a weird oversight. It's a great DLC. I didn't play it, and I know that it's terrific. I probably should play it, by the way. Okay, so the one I'm most drawn to and the one that I had the best time with, I'm still playing this, so I can't carte blanche it, but that's weird. Well, I really like, this is my vote. I'm voting for Black Myth Wukong. Best game direction, that I'll give to Metaphor. Best narrative, I'll give that to Metaphor. Best art direction, oh, this one's hard. Okay, all of these are valid. It's so beautiful. It's so cool to look at. It's good. It's so charming. I'm gonna go with Black Myth again. Okay, best score and music. Well, I already know the answer. Stellar Blade. Best audio design, Silent Hill 2. Best performance, Luke Roberts. Innovations in accessibility, I don't know actually. I'll go with Black Ops 6. I really would love for Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade is in one more category, in the action category, but I do want it to win OST. I really do. Best ongoing, oh sweet God, Warframe. Let me write that in. Honestly, I'm gonna vote for Fortnite. Best community support, I'll go with 14. I think Baldur's Gate. Let's see. Best indie game. Balatro. One dev. Baldur's Gate 3 has a shit ton of modding. Best debut indie game. I don't like Animal Well. I don't really like this style of game, if I'm honest with you, where it's kind of like, here, figure it out. Have a good time. I'm not really crazy about that style, but I want to applaud Donkey for what him and his team have created. Personally. Wuthering Waves, of course, for best mobile game. Metro. Anything Metro. Although, Metal Hellsinger would have been good. Best action game. Okay, so this one's tricky for me because I think this will be Stellar Blade. Best action adventure game. I'm going to give it to Astrobot. Oh, okay, so this is how they define it. For the best action adventure game combined with combat with traversal and puzzle solving. Well, in that case, I like Prince of Persia. Astrobot is so charming. I want to vote one thing for Astrobot. Best RPG. I did enjoy my time at Dragon's Dogma 2, but I was also ready for it to be done. Metaphor. You know, for not having finished the game, I voted for Metaphor like 3 times already. Best fighting game for me, I think it's going to be, just as a show of solidarity, for Grand Blue. Best family game, it's either Jamboree or Astrobot. I think I'll do Astrobot. I don't know. I like it, guys. It's charming. Best sim, I'll give it to Frost. Which one of these did I play? I played all of these, at least for 20 minutes. I'm not crazy about sim or strategy games, but again, it was a really well done remake, which basically was just like a fresh coat of paint. Frostpunk 2, they did sponsor a video, so technically this would be a bribe. Where's that person that said I was bribed by Wuthering Waves? So naturally, I should vote for Frostpunk 2 because they gave me money, but I'm going to go with Unicorn Overload. Best sports racing, I'll do Top Spin because I like tennis. Best multiplayer, I'm going to go with Black Ops. I'm really pleased with Black Ops 6, you guys. Best adaptation, Fallout for me. My most anticipated game, I know Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to win this category. I'm not really crazy about the hype. I mean, I'm going to play the shit out of it, but like I don't really buy it necessarily. I think for me, it's Ghost of Yotei. Content Creator of the Year, are any of these people nice? Well, I'm not denying the fact that people want GTA 6. I'm just saying, what do I want? I'm actually surprised that Pirate Software had a huge... But he'll probably win like Streamer of the Year for like the Streamer Awards or something. Queso moments to watch when you're waiting for your soda to stop fizzing over.
Granny, are you okay? I'm gone. I'm never coming back ever again in my life. Oh my god!
Oh my god, he's ridiculous.
Sakuna's booty juice. You do not go to no club. Alberto.
Queso guessing burgers.
burger is...
Oh no. I hope for my own sake that I get at least one of these wrong. That's a McDouble. I know a Sonic burger.
Answer. Whose burger is this?
Burger King.
Answer.
Oh no.
Whose burger is this?
That's Red Robin.
Answer. Whose burger is this?
You know what? I don't know. I'm gonna guess and say that it looks like something that would come from like Whataburger or something. Please let me be wrong. No!
Whose burger is this?
That's Arby's.
Answer. Whose burger is this?
It's In-N-Out.
Oh,
No, I'm not gonna get
that's a
one.
double-double.
I'm not gonna get one wrong. I took.
The
Whose
double-double.
burger is this?
That's Wendy's.
That's
That's a
Wendy's.
Dave single. I didn't get a single one wrong.
Oh my god. Holy shit. What's fucked up is that I do all of those as well. I just didn't say it out loud.